What's up, y'all? What's up, everybody? How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? So there's some Dallas Cowboys news, huh? That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm told. I've been notified by all my friends that love me. So, story time. Go to dinner out in Little Elm, visiting with my uncle, just chilling, had a great time with them. I decided to leave my phone in the car so we could just enjoy the night, right? We went to Hula Hut. I don't know if y'all ever heard of Hula Hut, but anyways, left the phone in the car, going to enjoy the night, enjoy the evening, have a nice dinner with the wife and the uncle and future aunt officially. Get back to my phone, 2 hours later, it's blown up. I got text messages, I got phone calls, I got all kinds of stuff, everywhere. People like, yo, what's going on? What's the deal with Jaylon, right? So, surprise, surprise, here we are. It's OU hate week, man. I'm not supposed to be having to worry about Cowboys drama, but here we are. Cowboys just can't stay out of the headlines for the wrong reasons. It seems like a whole season. Not saying this is wrong reasons, guys. We just got to sort it through. So, first of all, y'all let me know what your immediate thoughts are. This is my immediate reaction. I just got the news an hour ago, drove home from Little Elm, and came in here and sat down. Wanted to talk with you guys. So, I haven't heard any thoughts from the media. Haven't read anything. I barely just now got DallasCowboys.com pulled up. That's obviously the headline article. But let's try and talk through it and figure out, what the thinking is. Seems like to me initially, I would say it's weird timing, right? We could all agree there. If you pay close enough attention, you hear enough about Jaylon's play. It seems like ever since he got the contract extension, he hasn't been quite the same player, the 2019 Pro Bowl linebacker player that we saw him become post injury, right? Once he got right officially, we kind of saw the play. But the two interesting things, first of all, is Jaylon Smith in the first place. It's like he obviously he has the devastating injury the last game of his career at Notre Dame, right? He wouldn't even be a Cowboy in the first place if Cowboys had, their team doctor wasn't the one that performed the surgery. So he would have been a top 5 player in 2016. He ended up going to the Cowboys in the second round, obviously, right? But I think it was Britt Brown. Was he the surgeon? That's going to slip my mind here. The Cowboys team doctor. He's the one that performed the surgery. So he was able to relay the information to, the rest of the medical staff, Jerry Jones, the personnel staff, Will McClay, all those guys, right? Saying, hey, this guy might have a shot, not only to walk again, but maybe to play again, right? So that was the whole deal. Had Jaylon Smith was only going to be a Cowboy, because I guarantee you 31 other organizations going into that pre-draft process thought that he was done for. He had every ligament in his knee was torn, and then he had significant nerve damage to both of the main nerves that run through your knee. So it was like the drop foot was the whole problem from him coming back, right? You can rehab a knee, but if you can't feel it or control it, then you can't play football. And so comes back, has the 2019 Pro Bowl season, and then ever since then, he gets his contract extension in 2019. Y'all just imagine where we'd be right now if we allocated funds to the Byron Jones camp as opposed to keep Jaylon Smith around. So that's just interesting to me, where we sit at this current juncture. Brett says, Jabril Cox time, baby. Yeah. So here's the thing, though, where I'm at with the whole deal. I think this Cowboys team is primed for a deep postseason run. Hot take, whatever. Hold on, let me get this ambient light setting here. Like I said, y'all, it's OU hate week, so I got the room burnt orange right now. Obviously, I got the all gas no brakes hat on too. I'm just in OU mode. But let me go ahead and get the vibe set for this Cowboys chat here, man. I got to make sure I'm in the zone here. Nah, but let me know what you guys think. Like, what's your immediate reaction to to the news. Again, Jabril Cox is there. Yes, we haven't seen a ton of him yet, but to me, the whole deal is you need bodies. If you believe that you're Super Bowl contenders, which the Cowboys clearly do, I think they clearly are. They're one of the best teams in football right now. Hopefully, they're not peaking. Hopefully, they peak down the road when it really matters, right? You need bodies, man. It's the best teams, yes, in the NFL that do make the deep runs, but it's also the best healthy teams too. You gotta have depth, and luckily, obviously for the Cowboys, right, they're not making this decision if they don't have full confidence in the depth behind or ahead and behind at this point now of Jaylon. But to me, I think this all kind of points back to Dan Quinn. My first question when I heard the news in the car was, I thought about Leighton Vander Esch and how they neglected to pick up his fifth-year option. On May 3rd, I had Casey look it up for me in the car, actually, because I didn't remember off the top of my head if the deadline to set your fifth-year option, to notify the league, was before or after this year's draft. It turns out that it was actually 3 days after the draft had concluded. So there's no way that decision of not keeping Leighton, his fifth-year contract, that is for next year, was related at all to Micah Parsons, because the Cowboys didn't really have enough time yet to fully evaluate and know exactly what he was going to be. They obviously believed in him, the player, but you can't project how a dude's, just mental is going to play out and how he's going to process the information thrown at him, how he's going to adapt to the NFL game. There's no way to have that foresight. Otherwise nobody would ever miss on picks. But man, this is crazy. I didn't expect this to happen. First of all, back to my main point, I think it was obvious that Jaylon Smith's play was rapidly declining. He could no longer move side to side laterally for whatever reason, was reasonably serviceable north and south, particularly as a pass rusher only. But he was, he got a lot of heat last year, and he led the team in tackles for the last 2 seasons. But in my opinion, that's because of how poor the defensive tackle play was for the Cowboys during that stretch. Jaylon was having to make every tackle because guess what? Running backs were in and up in his lap, being touched for the first time 5 yards down the field, past the line of scrimmage. So that's not a good thing necessarily if you're giving up 6 yards per carry and, the guy that's starting for you in the middle of your defense is doing all the dirty work. Where was I going with that? I don't know, man. I think let's see what Brett says. Outside of the Saints game a few years, he hasn't been super dominant. Yeah, and so again, I completely agree, Brett. There are times when, and I can't evaluate film because the stupid NFL still hasn't put all 22 back on Game Pass. I'm still pissed about that because I want to see it. I want to know more. I want to see philosophically, schematically, what's happening, which players are in the right positions, which players aren't. Jaylon clearly isn't, because the people that do have access to all 22, I'm not fortunate enough to be one of them. They evaluate the film and they tell me that, or not me personally, but if you listen, they'll say that Jaylon Smith is a step behind and a step late, missing gap assignments. He's a liability, basically. And so what another thing that's weird is the Cowboys, I think before it was week 1, if he were active, there was a little bit of chatter about would the Cowboys activate him or keep him as a healthy scratch going into week 1, because with that new contract that he signed in 2019, the money that was supposed to be allocated to him became fully guaranteed for this season. So that's another kind of thing that's weird to me is the timing of it. The Cowboys don't save any money at all. Like there's no salary cap gymnastics that are happening right now with the this decision or this announcement to move on and part ways from Jaylon Smith. The thing that sucks is I don't know if his services will be demanded. I think he's a capable depth player at the linebacker position, which is what he was going to be had Keanu Neal not been out for COVID reasons, right? He's been seeing a lot of snaps these past 2 weeks because, again, they were down a guy, but I guess now they're getting Keanu Neal back. We still haven't seen a ton of Jabril Cox, but there's a youth movement happening here. I think it's my opinion. Dan Quinn arrived on the scene immediately asserted himself and said, the talent on this side of the ball that you're asking me to come and coach is not good enough. You guys have a significant, a very clear, very evident, and the statistics will indicate that, worst defensive franchise history a year ago, that you guys have a talent problem on the defensive side of the ball. So what does Dan Quinn do? He shows up and he says, boom, he, for lack of a better term, and apologize in advance for saying this if there are any ladies out there that are watching, literally dropped his nuts on Jerry Jones's table in the war room and said, we're taking 10 defensive players out of the 11 draft picks that we have for this class, and we're going to revamp and rebuild this defense. And that's exactly what's happened. So the thing that I'll close with this, and I'll get out of y'all's hair and shut up and stop talking. Dan Quinn, I just lost my train of thought right there. I had a great point coming. I was about to start preaching, y'all. What was I talking about? Well, I don't remember. So with that, I'll go ahead and say this. I was doing a little bit of research today on the metrics, like within the YouTube channel, the data that it provides that you can see through your studio. And it turns out that 68% of my viewers right now that are watching my videos are not subscribed. So if you're watching this and you come across this, and I hope you enjoy the content, and thanks for tuning in. But if it would really mean a lot to me, really help me out. If you are watching this video, you are enjoying it, to go ahead and just hit that subscribe button, man. It takes literally a quick 2 seconds. It's totally free. It's free to you, but it means a lot to me. So again, I appreciate that in advance. But now back to the Dan Quinn topic. I just think that, see, I had that little segue. Now I remember what I was going to say. Bought myself some time. Dan Quinn said there was a clear he said, without saying, that we have an issue here on the defensive side of the ball. He addressed that, brought in the youth movement. We're seeing incredibly talented players now that are first and second round players that are adjusting to a scheme, and Dan Quinn is putting them in the right positions to succeed. They're playing fast. They understand the system. But, the one thing this year that is different, aside from Micah Parsons, really, and now Osa Odigizua, if you look at this team from a year ago to now, this team right now, and now I get there were some significant injuries that the Cowboys dealt with, but prior to week 5 last year when Dak got injured, the one thing that has been different, that wasn't there, right? The missing piece, the key to everything we're seeing, the main common denominator to the change and everything, the energy, the camaraderie, the speed that the defense plays with, and just the overall feel of the organization right now. It's Dan Quinn. So I say all that to say this, man, and I'll get back to some of these comments here. I'm sorry if I'm late, but Dan Quinn, he's got a lot to say with this organization right now. I think there are 3 head coaches currently on this Dallas Cowboys coaching staff, not just one. I think Mike McCarthy is a co-head coach, one of 3. Kellen Moore, that guy is brilliant, and I'm actually going to talk a little bit about why I think what he's doing is unique to everybody else in the NFL. There's data suggesting that already. Again, that's a conversation for another day. And then obviously you don't take a defense that was the worst in stopping the run from a year ago, second worst in terms of total points and yards allowed, the worst in franchise history. And then already through 5 games, again, small sample size, but that you don't go from one extreme to leading the league in their turnovers forced by a significant margin, having 2 rookies significantly atop of the NFC in total pressures, 2 total rookies, guys that don't even understand yet rush the passer. They're still doing it anyways because Dan Quinn, he's that good of a coach. He's that good of a communicator, and he gets his point across, and these players love playing for him. It's very obvious. The Cowboys have 9 guys now that have registered 19 or more miles per hour on the defensive side of the ball. Last year, they had a total of 2 all season. It's been 4 weeks. That stat came out through week 4, actually before week 4. So it was through a 3-week sample. And we have 10 or 9 of those such guys, I guess, that are out there just flying around. And it's very obvious. You don't even need to see that GPS data to understand and to see the difference. We're all watching the game. We all can see it. So I think it all just points back to Dan Quinn again. I don't have the answer for you right now. Unfortunately, I'm sitting here live reacting, just trying to maybe piece a few things together, conversate with y'all, and figure it out, man. But I think the timing is weird. The money doesn't make sense because, he's locked in for the rest of this season. I'm not sure what the cap looks like for next year. I can go to Spotrac and maybe do some research and find that out myself. I don't want to do it right now because it'll just, prolong what ultimately ends up happening in this video here. But yeah, man, it's very weird timing. Again, I think the Cowboys are primed for a deep run. Depth makes sense. The money doesn't. So I guess get ready. Like Brett said, we're going to see a lot more Jabril Cox. Once DeMarcus Lawrence and Neville Gallimore come back, we're going to see a lot more maybe Oso Odighizuwa on the edge, Micah Parsons back in the second level, though I think it's kind of crazy. I think safe to say, even with DeMarcus Lawrence on the field, Micah Parsons is your best pass rusher right now. So I don't know how you take him off of the line of scrimmage, really, at least for more than 20% of the snaps or so, outside of obvious passing down situations. But yeah, those are just my thoughts. It's it's weird how fast things can change. I think usually, again, I say this a lot, when everybody within the same fan base or organization, so I'll say fan base for one, because I don't know what the feel about Jaylon Smith is inside the locker room and the coaching staff and, in the front office and stuff. But all the fan base, everybody, the media, at least the ones that I've seen, have been exposed to and pay attention to willingly, they all tell you the same story. And, for Jaylon Smith, it's not good in his favor. So doesn't have great tape, has obviously a huge contract. I don't know, the Cowboys are going to be on the books for him for at least this year. So I don't know what that looks like for him monetarily moving forward. But it seems like he's made it really hard on himself to find a job if indeed he still does want to play football. Maybe the lack of want to, he got his check, right? He got to some of the dwindling down of his play and just not being the same guy that we saw in 2019. A lot of that is schematic. A lot of that is personnel too. Again, he didn't have a lot of help last year in front of him. Still think the defensive tackle position is the weakest on the Cowboys roster. Could be wrong. Oso Odighizuwa, Chauncey Golston, Quentin Bohanna, and even Brent Urban are having a lot to say about that. But again, all those things, they all point back to the triangle. The guy sitting atop of the triangle that's having this trickle-down effect throughout the organization that has a major part of this team being 4-1 right now. It's Dan Quinn, man. So he has a plan. I trust it. 10 out of 11 draft picks allocated to that side of the ball. There was a talent problem on that side of the ball. And I just, I credit Dan Quinn for what he's done thus far and for obviously having some sort of say in the room to go ahead and just make this move to prime yourself, get these young guys acclimated, more snaps, because ultimately the youth of the team is the future. And again, I get it. It's weird catch-22 because you're trying to win right now, but you're also always roster building and trying to build for the future. So it's like when those two things collide, stuff like this happens. And we see Jaylon Smith, who has massive contract, just get cut. Yeah, man, that's all I got. I will be back tomorrow. Again, stay tuned for more split down the 50 with my buddy Alex Copeland, on the Sooner side of the Red River rivalry, man. It's a big week for us. I know we're both excited. We got a couple more, at least one more feature of that coming soon. But again, if you like this content, man, please do me a favor. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends about it. If they're football fans, if they're Cowboys, Longhorns, or even, fantasy football fans, man, that's what I'm here for. It's what I love to do. So help me out, hit that button, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for tuning in.